So, Teaching Learning Center IIT Kharagpur welcomes you to DELNet Phase 2. Today is the inauguration of this phase. I would like to request Anirban Samanto to do the joining part of the guest because I'll be involved with the introduction of the of everybody. So please, Anirban, do the job. So today is the inauguration phase of this program, and we have already completed phase 1, and it was a big challenge to us, and still it is. So right now, at the beginning, I would like to introduce a few key persons who are the inspiration of our journey. So uh, at first, I would like to introduce Dr. Plavan Kumar Bhaumik, our joint PI, Joint Principal Investigator of Teaching Learning Center, and he is the Assistant Professor of Center for Educational Technology, IIT Kharagpur, who is leading the whole team. And then I would like to introduce Dr. Subhas Chandra Samanto. Is an eminent educationist and was a former professor of physics, Midnapur College. And right now, he is our honorable mentor of the whole group. And then I would like to introduce Dr. Chinmoy Kumar Ghosh, he is also a mentor of our team, and he was former director of National Innovation Center of IGNOU, New Delhi. These are the key persons who are behind the whole process. So initially, I would like to hand over the whole system to Dr. Plavan Kumar Bhaumik. So, sir, please, this is over to you.
Thank you, Anirban. Respected Professor Subhash Samanto, Dr. Chinmoy Kumar Ghosh, dear teacher mentors who have been there in the first phase and will be helping out to conduct the workshop in the second phase for a segment of the participants. And finally, dear participants, a very warm welcome and good morning to all of you. At this outset, I will like to welcome you at TLC IIT Kharagpur with the same extent of warmth that I would have done within a physical workshop. So as you know that due to this COVID-19 outbreak, it has snatched from us almost everything out of our normal life. But we can see that it could not really snatch our zeal and enthusiasm for learning. And that is very much evident from the extent of participation and kind of responses to the call for participation that we are getting for this workshop. It is really overwhelming, and we are getting participation requests from different parts of the country. And that is very much encouraging for us. So when we started thinking about how do we really connect to the teachers during this lockdown period, initially we thought it to be a very huge challenge because of many things. Like we were not very much sure about how the teachers are managing their daily activities, and of course I know that they're very much motivated to connect to their children or students. But due to these impediments, they are not really able to do that, and we are not very much sure how they will be responding to our initiative. But thanks to their motivation and intention, of course, their enthusiasm, we somehow overcame that barrier of participation, and we can see that it is an overwhelming response from all around the country. So that is a kind of inspiration for us. Thank you very much, all of you, for joining us. So I'll take the opportunity to talk about something about the Teaching Learning Center IIT Kharagpur, which started in the year 2016. That is when IIT Kharagpur was awarded with the funding from the MHRD, Government of India, under the scheme of Pandit Madan Mohan Malviya National Mission on Teacher and Teaching. So we were interested to deal with the domain of science education and mathematics education for the school level. And we started thinking about what should be our broad objective. So this is how it goes. It is not something that is very much different than what you are doing in your daily classroom routine, but in a different perspective altogether. So we have drawn inspiration from the policies that are coming up in the country level. For example, we have
I'm pausing you because do you have you shared the skin of your?
no.
No, someone is sharing in between, so that's why I paused you. So please stop the sharing. Yeah, she has stopped. So please, sir, please carry on.
So I'm just talking. I didn't share anything. Okay, so should I carry on? Is it fine? All fine?
Yes, sir. Please carry on.
So we drew inspiration from the different policies, educational policies that are taken countrywide. For example, the new education policy talks about the role of experiential learning and inquiry-based strategies for teaching not only science but every subject. So that was a kind of inspiration for us, and we have drew motivation from those policy statements. And accordingly, we have crafted our training modules in three broad components. One is how to carry out experiential learning being in a classroom setting. So now you can think of when we are in our daily teaching activities, when we are teaching in a classroom, the scope of doing experiment inside the classroom, even that is very much aggravated in the secondary level, where the schools, many schools do not have the required facility for conducting experiments. So that in that setting, our framework becomes relevant, where we talk about very small experiments, and these experiments will just contain or require very mundane things and the things that you can find in your household, and carry out different experiments that can illustrate different concepts of science and mathematics very easily in a classroom setting. So that was a kind of objective, that, well, how do we develop low cost experiments inside a classroom to demonstrate different concepts about science and mathematics. So that was that was one segment of activities we were doing. The second set of activities that we are doing is how do we practice inquiry based strategy of delivering instruction in the classroom. So the difference between the normal or the traditional way of delivering the idea about different concepts, or and in comparison to the inquiry based mode, is that in inquiry based mode, we do not start with the definitions of the concepts, but we do a kind of reverse thing. We start with some daily experiences that the students might have, and from those experiences they will be asked, or they will be asked to answer certain questions that would be instigating their imagination. And with that sense of imagination, they will be coming up with logical structure of their thought to respond to those questions. And finally, in doing so, they will be dealing with the concept. They will be learning the concepts that are targeted for their particular instruction. So that particular module, what we call as argument-driven inquiry, So this is a kind of framework that has been developed by the IIT TLC IIT Kharagpur team. And one major component in this workshop will be that practicing that pedagogy and how do we take that pedagogy in the classroom. The third component which we felt is very much essential in many settings, but in today's scenario where, yes, in today's setting, when we are all locked down, we are compelled to deliver instructions online. So how do we use digital platforms to impart our instructions or carry the instructions to the students? So we talked about different ICT tools which will be useful in illustrating different concepts of science and mathematics. And again, they are pretty much relevant to other subject domains as well. So broadly, these are the three spectrum of activities that we are doing. We have been doing from since 2016. So initially, when we started out, these activities were delivered independently. For example, there used to be one workshop that was dedicated only on this low-cost experiment design, another workshop that used to be dedicated to ADI, and another workshop that used to be dedicated for these ICT-based tools. But gradually, we figured out that we can connect these three together to give a complete overview or connection between these three domains of training. And that have been proven effective throughout different workshops that we hold physically. That's why we have started to connect them together and to give a very concrete and complemented view of the training program. So these are kind of more or less the broad objectives that we have. And regarding the logistics about the program in the current setting, of course. So when we did the workshop in the physical setting, we did this in two ways. One way was to conduct the workshop inside IIT Kharagpur. So we floated call for participation, and different teachers, they expressed their interest. And based on certain criteria, the criteria was mostly not for exclusion, but we were always trying to include all teachers in our fold, but due to certain logistic restriction, we could not do for all of the teachers who applied. But again, it was a kind of camp where the teachers will come in TLC IIT Kharagpur, stay here for 5 days at a stretch, and they will undergo rigorous training on these three different aspects of the training program. And the best part of the workshop was the teachers were having the experience of doing the things on their own under the able guidance of the mentors that I have already mentioned. The other mode was to reach out to the pre-service teachers. So these are the students in the B.Ed colleges who were aspiring to be the next generation teachers. So we traveled to different B.Ed colleges and imparted the same bouquet of activities to training to the students in the B.Ed colleges. Now, all those activities or the workshops were held in a physical mode, but as we are compelled to go within an online mode, there will be certain restrictions, of course. For example, we cannot do the experiments physically as we did in the physical workshop, but what you can do. So I think the respective resource persons will be detailing out the protocol more in a more detailed way. But given a task, what you can do the experiments at your respective places and record the experiment and demonstrate that experiment through sharing the videos with us. So these are the logistics that will be taken care of while we are working on. For the other modes like this digital learning and as well as the ADI mode, so there I think the online mode will not be that much of hindrance. So it will be a kind of similar experience as we did in the physical mode, right? But there are certain things which we really do not have any clue. Like, for example, the power outage, the internet connection goes down. So there are certain uncertainties which we might need to deal with. We really faced several issues, similar kind of issues in the first phase of this workshop, but somehow we pulled through with the cooperation of every participants. And I expect that we will receive similar kind of cooperation from all of you in this phase as well. So we cannot really do anything about this power outage, the internet going down, low bandwidth, but for the other thing, rest assured, we'll be with you always. Thank you very much. Welcome, and let us enjoy the workshop. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Now, I would like to request Dr. Subhash Chandra Samanto to speak words about the workshop and his experience. So, sir, please, Subhash Chandra Samanto, I am calling Dr. Subhash Chandra Samanto to give a lecture, few words.
Thanks, Anirban. I congratulate all the participants who have come from a long way. In fact, they are in their home and they have shown interest for this mentorship program that is being organized by IIT TLC. And I also thank Dr. Bhomik because he has actually explained the and outlined the works that we are going to do for this program. And in this occasion, I'd like to say a few words, you see, that actually Professor Bhomik has told the things, still I am just elaborating to some extent. You see, I am actually, I worked in Midnapur College for almost 50 years. And even today I am associated with that college through one lab that is called IBT Midnapur College Center for Scientific Culture. Because I am also a member of IBT. Sometimes I was the general secretary of this organization. And during this period, I have come across a very good number of students in Midnapur College who actually participated in many, many experiments as project works. And really we have developed many experiments in the process which can be used for doing project even at the school level. So as you were told that one of the items is low cost experiments in science. And nowadays we are talking of science, though I am a physics teacher. And in fact, we have come to the point that we cannot do physics in isolation. We have to do chemistry, biology, other sciences also. And so we are now doing mostly things which are interdisciplinary. In a way, but as my physics is my subject, so I am just giving some example how the things can be done even in this lockdown period. You see, everything stopped now, but they cannot stop our physical activity or mental activity. So this is the situation when I can suggest something that even you can do at your, staying at your home and whatever available in the home. So that, in fact, that I shall give, shall send you through a mail, and that you, in fact, tomorrow I have to talk about that again. So you please come prepared with those things, at least as far as possible. It may be you can do the experiments right now, or at least you can prepare yourself mentally. But these things are very much needed even for the other items that Professor Bhomik has also elaborated. That is argument-driven inquiry, that is ICT tools, and so many things. So particularly why we are doing these things, at least two things are needed. Even this in lockdown period, we have to remain physically active and mentally very alert. Why? Because the doctors are telling that if you really become physically active and mentally alert, then you can develop some much more immunity. And moreover, our students, the young learners, they are really rather sitting idle at home. Those some schools are giving them some lessons through digital platforms. But the problem is that in most situations, the students are really idle, and we think that they are not understanding anything. They really understand the gravity of the situations, and in the inner domain, they're actually depressed to such an extent. So it is our duty to make them active as far as possible. Whether as family members we can make them active, who are our family members, but even those who are students, we have to give some tasks if as possible to this digital mode. So please think of this. Otherwise, we shall be going to a very serious depression mode, and that is very bad. So I really thank you that mm, uh, that you have come. You are going to join this, and I think we have already completed one such program. And that program, I think, even in this rather digital platform, distance learning, it was very successful in the sense the teachers have really given some very good ideas, and we have been able to share our ideas what we have done in the last 3-4 years, during which I am connected with the TLC IIT. So I think in the coming days, in the coming workshop schedules, we shall be sharing our ideas, and we shall interact with you, and we shall be benefited from interaction with you also. So with these preliminary comments, I thank you again for joining this mentorship program. I think we shall enjoy together all these things. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Now I would like to request Dr. Chinmay Kumar Ghosh to deliver a few words for our participants. Hello.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you, Anirban, and my greetings to all the participants, starting from Dr. Bhomik, Professor Shamanto, the participating teachers, the entire team of TLC who is behind this enterprise. It had been a unique experience. Actually, we had been quite apprehensive, but when we had conducted the program during the last phase, that is the first phase of this DLCNet workshop, I should say e-workshop, we had initially a lot of apprehensions, but it was an extremely enjoyable experience, a learning experience for me. And I thank Dr. Bhomik and his entire team for giving me the opportunity to come back again and interact with all the teachers, and now beyond the borders of the state of West Bengal. At present, I am also beyond the border of the state of West Bengal. I am in Delhi, from where I am interacting with you. And I also thank TLC. You have heard about TLC, the salient features from Dr. Bhomik, and you have come to know about its activities. You have come to know about the activities we are doing as regards experiential learning and things sort of argument-driven inquiry and active teaching learning process. Professor Shamanto has elaborated a lot on this, and so I don't want to add on those points, but I thank both these teachers, Dr. Bhomik and Professor Shamanto, for making me a part of their endeavor. And I have been working with them almost for the last couple of years. And in course of that, we have done a lot of intervention into this particular new pedagogy of argument-driven inquiry, which will be the crux of the entire workshop. And I extend my congratulations to the participants. Particularly, I congratulate the new entrants who are existing beyond the borders of the state of West Bengal and are joining us. It is a great endeavor, a great effort, and a great motivation on part of them. And also the teachers who are with us, they have been participating as participants of the workshop, but now they have a different role. They have this elevated role of mentor. And my greetings to them for this new enhanced role. And I'm sure that they would be mentoring you with all effectivity and with all sincerity. As far as I'm concerned, I'll be with you, and I have been given some responsibility as regards discussing with you nature and ethics of science, and which I shall be doing with illustrations, and I have two co-conveners with me. I welcome them also specially, Mr. Monoranjan Bera and Mr. Joydeep Pathak, and we shall be in touch to discuss among ourselves how we reach out to you, because I think that would happen first on the 5th of May. This is going to be an enjoyable experience for you, because this is a new kind of learning, and I'm sure that many of you will come up with experiments, inexpensive experiments, which otherwise are called low cost experiments in the areas of physics, chemistry, and biology. And the idea will be first to have a question raised, which is called the guiding question. I think Dr. Anirban Mukherjee will speak in details about that, and I'm not going to bother you during this inaugural session. But as Professor Shamanto told, and echoing his voice, I would like to say that you should be prepared with your experiments, or whatever way, with videos or whatever way you'd like to introduce any situation which pertains to everyday science, and which would motivate us to raise a question, ponder over it, and to arrive at an answer. And the next challenge is, after we get to know all this, how to apply that in the situation of your classroom back at your school, and how to take it to the end user, because that is a big challenge, because you'll be facing a kind of a heterogeneous group, a big classroom. All of them may not be having the same kind of motivation and all such things. And then you have the pressure, the burden of finishing the syllabus. And then you have the examination system, and added to all these things is the uncertainty which is lying ahead of us for the post-corona period. So we have to face these challenges, and I'm sure with our concerted effort, we'll be able to win over any situation. So I once again congratulate you for joining this endeavor, particularly the teachers, in two facets. That is, one of the group which were with us, and they are going to play the role of mentors. So I congratulate you, and I ex- extend my sincere wishes for the onerous task ahead of you. And I hope you'll be enjoying that task, because we are working in a cascade manner, because we, within quotes, were doing the mentoring, and now the baton passes to you. And then my heartfelt congratulations and greetings to the new entrants who have joined this program from beyond the borders of the state of West Bengal. We are looking forward to a nice time for the fortnight ahead. Back to Anirban, and thank you all.
Thank you, sir. So right now, I'm Dr. Anirban Mukherjee. I will explain the whole structure of the program. So initially, I want to mention that as this inauguration session is a common session for all, so that's why we are running it in English. But after the inauguration session, the participant will choose their classroom according to their the option they have given during the registration. That means those who are willing to take the classes in Bengali, so they have to choose the routine made for Bengali session, and those who are willing to join the English session, they should opt for the routine in made for English session. So this is the preliminary thing, and the main objective that I want to summarize of this program is to groom the mentors. That means we are looking to develop new mentors, those who can perform for the Teaching Learning Center IIT Kharagpur in future programs that may be online or offline mode, but mostly we will encourage the mentorship for online mode. So that is the main objective. So I want to say that we are not providing any training to you for how to do your job. Actually, you are very much efficient than us. So we are just sharing our idea to how to do the job, how to create a effective classroom in your schools. So that will be our main focus. And mostly the thing that we want to convey is we are trying to give you the ideas uh, using which you can act as mentor in online mode, because we know that we are the whole world is going through a very critical phase, that is COVID-19. And this COVID-19 has taught our us a very big lesson, that it has changed our thinking, it has changed our lifestyle, it has changed our direction for futures, and ultimately the outlook of towards the world. So we don't know what is going to happen after this pandemic. So we must be prepared for that. And that's why that we think that this online mode of teaching would get a very prominent role in future, because we don't know what will happen after the pandemic situation. So that's why you should be prepared. And the main motto of this workshop is to prepare yourself, so how to do the job in online mode. So that's why I'm sharing right now. I'm sharing the structure of the program, but I would like to mention few things before starting our next phases. First of all, you must try to join at sharp at proper time. That has been the schedule has been given to you, and according to that schedule, you please join the program, because the whole program will be live streamed on YouTube. So that's why we have to maintain the structure, the time, because those who are not being able to join the program, they can enjoy, they can learn from the program. He or she may be in any corner of the world, so we have to maintain the time. So please join at your scheduled time. And the second thing, after joining, uh, please put your mic on mute, because if you are unmuting yourself, some noises will come over your mic, and the screen will be transferred from the speaker to others. So that will create a problem, that will destroy our concentration. So that's why my request, please put your mic off when you are not speaking. And when you are trying to speak, please put the mic on and then speak, and after completion, please put it again off. So that's the few things that I want to share. And uh, if we maintain these protocols, we can um, carry on our session seamlessly. And that Professor Bhomik already told you that there is every possibilities to have some glitches between the program due to bandwidth problem, or maybe due to the power cut off. Everything can happen, and we cannot avoid it. So we have to overcome that situation with our collaborative our collaboration and collaborative effect. So we have to work on that effectively to run the session smoothly. So these are the basic things that I want to share. So, and the whole session will be run with collaborative effort, and that's the main power of our journey. That will be the main power of our journey. So let's start let me start the sharing you the screen. And one thing I want to mention that at the very beginning of the program, someone started sharing screen. So please don't do that. Whenever you want to share the screen, first tell us that you want to share your screen, you want to share something, then put the sharing mode on. So right now I am going to explain the overall structure. And another thing that I would like to mention, that in this phase we got nearly 60 registration till now, and out of which 13 from 13 or more, some few more from out of West Bengal. Uh, we got participants from Telangana, Maharashtra, Gujarat, Tamil Nadu, Bihar, Jammu and Kashmir. So that's why we keep the option for English session. And our first page was on Bengali in Bengali mode, because the most of the participants were from the West Bengal. So right now we will have two sessions that you have already received the brochure, where we put the schedule according to the English and Bengali session. So right now I am going to share my screen.
Anirban,
Yes, sir.
would you not ask that participants to introduce themselves?
So that we may ask. Actually, we have a lots of participants, and I assume if we do that, we cannot complete it within our scheduled time. So that will be a second thought, sir. First, I would like to tell them the whole structure initially, and we can do that in a separate session for English and Bengali, sir.
Okay. Fine.
So are you seeing my screen?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So this is the program, TLC Mentorship Program through DELNet. And what is DELNet? DELNet, that we have already explained in our brochure. It's actually, we are calling it as a 360-degree solution for remote teaching learning. Actually, we are using several platform in an integrated form to deliver all the things that is needed to run a effective classroom. Actually, there is no such single mode that you can use to run an effective classroom, so that you have to put different platform in a single, in an integrated form, integrated manner. You have to use those in an integrated manner to run proper classroom teaching. So that is the thing we are doing also. And you are here on Zoom platform for online session. So our program initially divided in 4 clusters. So that we have already described in brochure, but again I am summarizing it. First, the cluster 1. In cluster 1, actually this cluster is meant for low cost experiments in science teaching. In this cluster, there will be two separate there is two separate class codes. One is 01A and 01B. The whole thing will be divided in these two class codes. So let us see what is the total summary of the cluster 1. We will learn about the low cost experiments, the what is the low cost experiments, what are the importance of the low cost experiments in classroom. That is the most crucial thing we have to go through, because as you may know that according to report of NEPA, nearly 32 or 33% of the schools have the well organized laboratory room. And apart from that, when you are trying to teach something in science in your daily classroom, you have to go through some hands-on experimental or experience. You have to provide the students some experimental and experiential learning facility. Uh, that's the main, that's the crucial point that we will discuss on using these low cost experiments, and then we'll go to the design part of the experiment. That means how to design the low cost experiments. Because these low cost experiments are not always written in book, and you cannot have it very instantaneously, so you have to design it according to your requirement. So that will that will be the crucial part, that is the designing part of the experiment. Please, someone is, please put your mic on mute mode. Someone's mic is on. So again, I am coming back. Then we'll learn how to implement this low-cost experiment in classroom, and then we'll go through assessment of the participant. And actually, the assessment, the mode of assessment. Please, I am getting echo from someone's mic. Please put your mic on mute mode, please. So assessment of the participant. So what will be the procedure of assessment that I have to mention? Uh, First, initially, our experts will describe the whole things in one or few session. Then the participant will be asked to perform such low-cost experiment and show to us. Us means, that means to everybody through this platform. And during this session, we will explain how to do these experiments online, and how to stream this experiment online, or how to share this experiment online. Because suppose you are taking your class from your home during this lockdown session, and you have to perform the experiments, then the main question will be raised, that how will we show these experiments to the students, and that are the technical aspects that we will explain during this session. And then another part of the another part of the program in this cluster is, after showing some experience, some such low cost experiment, uh, we will form a guiding question from that. What is the guiding question? That's the another main that's another crucial thing that we will explain in cluster 2. Actually, guiding question is a probing question, is a problem that we will put in front of the student, that will instigate their mind, and they will involve them, that will instigate them to think on it and inquire on it. So that's the separate part, and we will discuss about the guiding question in detail during the classes. So this is the whole structure of cluster 1. And now I am going to explain cluster 2. Cluster 2, so this is a very unique part of our program, because the cluster 2 is will completely deal with argument driven inquiry pedagogy. Actually, this pedagogy has been developed by our team, and we are implementing it in several schools in trial mode. Because as per our knowledge, this is the probably the very first time in India when this kind of inquiry-based pedagogy is being administrated or tested. So actually, we have developed this, and I can say we have modulated or molded it according to the Indian context. So we have prepared it to implement in our classroom. So we will deal with that argument-driven inquiry pedagogy in this cluster 2. What is it? How? What will be the structure? How will be dealing with this? And every source of detail will be shared and analyzed during this session. How will we implement this? Because the implementation is the major crucial is the crucial part of the pedagogy. Because if we cannot implement it properly, it will not work. So that's the main thing. And another big challenge is how to implement it online, it on online mode. So that there is lots of technical aspect that we have to deal with, and we will deal with that these points on cluster 2. And finally, the assessment of the participant. Actually, in this case, we will the assessment procedure in the participant will be asked to form few guiding questions, and we will discuss on that. If someone and the participant will be asked to guiding question and to present it in front of all of us, and then he or she must be he or she will be asked to justify why it will be it will be accepted at guiding question, and other participant will criticize it, will discuss on it, and finally we will judge whether that question could be taken as the guiding question or not. And this way in this way, with lots of interaction, we will come up with some very interesting guiding question that we have already that we have the experience in phase 1 also. And that kind of thing we have done, and it was very successful. And I think it will be very much of fun. So that is the crucial points that I want to share with the cluster 2. And now I'm going to cluster 3. Cluster 3 is totally based on ICT tools. Actually, in this cluster, we will share some very interesting and important ICT tools that can be used to run your daily classroom, and those can be used to manage your classroom, your classwork, your daily life. Everywhere you can utilize these things effectively. And more of it, this kind of using this kind of ICT tools, you can um, create inquisitive mind. You can instigate the inquisitive mind in your students. So that is the very crucial part. So in this cluster 3, we will share some ICT tools like CMAP tools and GeoGebra and some sort of kind of things like this. And we will discuss on it. We will discuss on the technical aspects of this. And finally, the assessment part. Here, the participant will be asked to take one or few session as if he or she is mentoring us, like our mentors do. And actually this is a practice part of this cluster 3. With this practice, they can groom themselves as mentor for future. So this is the part, the cluster 3. And the cluster 4, this is a very important part in our science community. Actually, who are practicing science, we have to keep in mind and keep in practice that the scientific ethics, scientific temperament, and we have to know the nature of science, how science works, how scientists should work, and what will be the basic scientific temperaments, what are the ethics in science. And we are struggling, the whole world is struggling with the ethics in scientific community. So that's a very important part. And finally, we will discuss how the school projects what will be the role of ethics in school projects, and that's on. So this is the overall structure of our program. And finally, you these are some few key points that I would like to share. That uh, we will have 7 days and 14 session, and each day we will have 2 sessions. You can go through your schedule and find it. And each typical session will be of 1 20 minutes. We will try to complete the session. We will try to accommodate the session within these set times, but sometimes we can exceed, we may exceed the time because as you know, it is online mode, and in online mode, there are several glitches may come. So in that case, sometime we may exceed the time, but we will try to confine it within this 120 minutes. And another thing I would like to mention, it is mandatory to attend each session each day. Please try to do that, because in case of discontinuity, you cannot understand the next session, you cannot cope up with the next sessions. So it will be better if you could attend the sessions regularly. Yeah, I know, I could understand that there may be some problems with you. There may be some family problems or familiar problems, or maybe some technical problems or maybe some problems related to equipments that may happen, that we have already told. It cannot be avoided, but try to do it regularly. And in these two hubs, we will take the attendance. Our back office team will noting that. So please, that is for our part. So please try to attend the session, because otherwise we cannot cope up with next session. And so participation is the main thing. And I think and I hope, and I can say from our previous experiments, your participation will leads to your joyful learning. It will not bore you, because whenever we will start the session, you can understand, you can if you involve yourself, you can really understand the session will going to be a joyful learning. So that's all. That's the things I want to share. And another thing I want to mention.
Anirban,
Yes, sir. Hello. Hello. Hello, Plavan sir. Are you hearing me? Am I audible to everybody?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
yes, you are.
Yes, yes.
Yes, sir. So I could
Yes, sir.
not hear your voice. Plavan sir, I am over to you. What you were saying, I could not get it properly.
Okay, I thought that you were disconnected, so I was just taking over. But I guess we are kind of at the end of the session, so we are at the concluding phase. So you can carry on. I thought that we have lost you in the connection.
No, 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 sir. I'm online. So another thing I would like to mention, that from phase one, we have some very talented mentors we got from phase one. So I would like to mention their name, who will act as the mentor, mostly in the session that will be run in Bengali medium. So there, please. So I am telling their name: Shubhranshu Shekhar Samanto, সুখেন্দু ঘোষাল, শীর্ষেন্দু মণ্ডল, বিদ্যুৎ ঘোষ, জয়দীপ পাঠক, সত্যব্রত দাস, ননীগোপাল মণ্ডল, বীরেশচন্দ্র লায়েক, সঞ্জয় কুমার পাল, সৌমেন সরকার, সঞ্জীব চৌধুরী, সুশান্ত সরকার, and Manoranjan Bera. These are these mentors were the participant in our phase one, and from that phase one, we get them as mentor, and they will act as level one mentor in this phase for the Bengali medium session. And I want to mention another thing: when they will run this session, our core TLC team will backing them up, so there will not be any problem, and we will do it in a collaborative effort. So that's all that I want to share with you. And right now I am asking uh, Professor Bhomik. So could I consider the request from Dr. S.C. Samanto to introduce participants, or we'll do it in next phases and separate phases?
So I guess let us do that while we are dividing the team into two parts. Otherwise, the number of participants will be overwhelming. managing that in an online mode will be difficult. So let us, when we take the team separately, do the introduction there. So that will be my suggestion.
Okay, sir. And now I want to mention another thing. I am seeing some participants are using some ambiguous names on their device like B23.1, ABA1, such things. So it's my request, please change or rename your device on your name, because it will help us to identify the proper participant to allow in the session, and that we are asking just for the sake of your security, because if we cannot identify the proper participant, there may be some chances that some intruder may come, and there may be some problems with the session. So that's why I'm asking, please put your device on your own name. So that's my request.
So while you are joining a session, there is an option where you can put your name. So we request you to put your name so that we can identify you, and will not let the intruder who may play spoil sport in the program. So it is our request to all of you to join the meeting with your name.
So now I am handing over the session to Professor Plavan Kumar Bhomik, and sir, then that's over to you. Please, you may conclude.
So I think Anirban has nicely summarized the program. So to make it more apps or summarize, so for every cluster we have got the training program. Training program will be followed by a practice session, and the practice session will be followed by assessment. So for every cluster, will be following this kind of flow of the training program. And once again, I like to thank you all for joining us. Hopefully, as it happened before, it will be a joyful learning experience for all of us. So we'll be learning many things from you and looking forward to that. Thank you very much. So with this, I'll thank you. I thank the resource persons, our mentors, Professor Samanto, Professor Chinmay Kumar Ghosh. I thank Anirban to coordinating all these activities. I thank the TLC team, the support team who are working at the back end to do a smooth operation of the entire program. I'll especially thank the mentors, the level 1 mentors who have really come forward in spite of their daily busy activities and schedule. I'm really thankful to them, and I'm really inspired by their enthusiasm. And of course, needless to say, I'm very much looking forward to interact with all the participants in this coming 7 days. Hopefully, the entire workshop will be a very good, nice, and enjoyable experience for you. Thank you all. Thank you very much.
With big thanks, we are going to end the session. So thank you, everybody. Thank you all.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.